All right, former National Security Advisor John Bolton now has major questions, he says, about our Defense Command's claim that the craft did not present a physical or military threat. Bolton asks, could they say indisputably that it contained no nuclear or radiological weapons, no biological pathogens or toxins it could release into the U.S. water supplies? Did they contact foreign capitals to see who would own up to the balloon? Republican Congressman Mike Waltz of Florida, member of the House Armed Services and Foreign Affairs Committees and a former Green Beret. Thank you very much for joining us, sir. I want to run this by you because our own Lucas Tomlinson is now reporting this. This was Kirby just a short time ago in a new interview saying that Kirby says that U.S. officials have now spoken to Chinese leaders in private settings, he says, to voice concerns about the spy balloon shot down off the coast of South Carolina. Military-to-military communication between the nations remains closed. So why aren't they picking up the phone, Congressman?
Yeah, well, that's a great question, and it's a concerning question. Even in the height of the Cold War with the Soviet Union, those back channels were open. My understanding from a briefing we received last week is that Secretary of Defense Austin attempted to reach out, and the Chinese literally didn't pick up the phone. And so this is a time, Sandra, where we need clarity, we need candor, we need to hear not from various spokesmen and women, but we need to hear from the president and the commander-in-chief. In the history of North American Air Defense Command, in its 65-year history, we have never shot anything down over the United States. Now we've shot 4 objects down that we can't even fully describe in the last week. This is a time to hear from the president. And if he doesn't know something, we're still trying to figure something out, then tell us and tell us what we know and what we don't know.
And 3 of those in a matter of just 3 days. That being said, there are lawmakers speaking out on both sides of the aisle, giving us their take on the situation. Before we learn more from the White House, Republican Senator Ron Johnson with his take on the president's handling of the China spy flight. Listen to this.
They see as well as sense weakness in America right now. President Biden, he's detached from reality. He's delusional. He denies it. You know, we don't exactly have the A-team in place right now. I've been warning for years about the risk of a high-altitude nuclear blast that could create an electromagnetic pulse that could wipe out our electronics. Even a geomagnetic disturbance could do the same thing, and we haven't prepared for it.
What is your reaction to Senator Johnson with some really significant concerns about all of this?
Well, that's one of the questions that we have. Is the CCP looking to weaponize these platforms in addition to surveillance? And again, it goes back to begging the question on what are our shoot-down criteria. If it's flying high and it's large, then we're not going to shoot it down. But if it's small and it's low, we will. Or, you know, what about future harm to the United States? If an entity can collect on our stealth bomber base, our ICBM fields, and our command and control centers, that to me represents future harm and a future conflict and therefore should fit the criteria. So we just have a ton of policy questions. And again, this is why we need to hear from the president.
I just want to draw our viewers' attention to the screen here. This is North Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, where you are seeing these recovery efforts. Obviously, they were stopped for some time, resuming today. It's 11 a.m. Eastern time right now, Congressman. But there's a major effort to recover as much of that particular object as possible to learn more about what is going on here. The ones off Alaska, obviously difficult with the freezing temperatures, wind chills, really dangerous conditions to recover those. How confident are you, Congressman, that we're going to learn more from the actual material itself here pretty soon?
Well, I do think we'll learn more. Even if the surveillance equipment is no longer functional, I think we could be able to tell a lot from the types of equipment that's on there. But again, it begs the broader question of, you know, is this a concerted effort? It appears to be by China to take advantage of that space that they call near space between where aircraft fly and where satellites operate. And then, what are our defenses against it? What are our policies for taking them down? Are our sensors and radars adequate? We need to be investing more from our defense budget in those over-the-horizon radars. And so, again, we're looking forward to those briefings so that Congress can help fund the Defense Department to defend this great nation. But at the end of the day, to Senator Johnson's point, if the messaging is so important here, if our adversaries perceive weakness, if they're doing things because they think they can get away with it, we can have the best military in the world. But if we have weakness or perceived weakness in the commander-in-chief, then our enemies are going to be on the march.
I mean, you have to wonder how many more of these are out there. I think, Congressman, another big question is, were these other objects put up at the same time others were discovered? Were they put up after? The timing is huge question marks over pretty much every aspect of this. Also, Lucas Tomlinson is putting this out there that the U.S. has spotted Chinese spy balloons transiting the Middle East in the recent past. This is according to Lieutenant General Gernkowicz. I mean, how many... Could you even imagine if these are up all over the world and we're just starting to see them over the United States now?
Well, we have, the White House and the Pentagon has said this. They are aware of over 40 countries that these things have transited. But we have to remember, we have bases all over the world.
Yeah.
And so as the Chinese have eye on cornering the global energy market and cornering the Middle Eastern oil and gas reserves, we have bases there that they could also be collecting on. So this is broader than just defending the homeland. It's about understanding their capability, their intent, and how to mitigate it, take it out, or defend against it.
Right.
And so, again, these are the many, many questions we have before us.
And two big things that we're obviously watching as this story develops. We're obviously watching for that briefing to begin 1 o'clock this afternoon. Kirby will be speaking. Hope to learn more then. Also watching those recovery efforts of the actual object down there off the coast of South Carolina. Congressman, really appreciate you joining us. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Edgar.